Okay, welcome to Comfy African 2 and Instagram. So, I do not support unsafe martial art practice, even though I'm about to do something that's completely unsafe. This is a messed up ass blindfold. This shit only works in the movies. Let me repeat that for those who are in the back. This shit only works in the movies. Do not attempt. Now, this is going to be for fun. I'm also going to do bound fighting, and I'm going to do some weapons demonstrations also. But first, I want to talk about unsafe martial art practices before we do anything else. Once I put this shit on, my martial arts safety just went completely out the window. So unless you literally are a blind person being taught by a fucking expert, I highly don't recommend you attempting the shit you're about to see. Also, I'm going to attempt to do some jumping spin kicks and shit, and I'm probably not going to be landing where I think I'm going to be landing. So I have a car there, and I have nothing over here but junk. So I leave frame at any time, you know that I have fucked up. Alright? Which is again why you do not practice unsafe martial art and bug martial art practices. So, without further ado, let's jinx this shit. For those who do not know that reference, G.I. Joe the movie 1986, the keenest eye is that looks inward. Jinx is aka Kim Arashikage. So if I stand in one spot, this is probably about the safest I can get with my eyes closed and with this thing on. And I can do katas like this so that I can feel everything. The problem is that I can't see anything. So if I do a front kick, I know I threw a front kick. If I do a side kick, I know I do a side kick. If I do a jumping spin kick, I'm going to have to take this blindfold off because there's no guarantee that I'm actually looking at the camera right now. I hope that I am because I don't think I turned in any direction. But I'm about to turn into a different direction now. So there's a good chance that I'm not going to land where I'm supposed to land. Which is why you do not do this. Which is why you do not practice this. I mean, it's good to practice with your eyes closed and get used to the kata. This, not so much. Okay? So we're going to go for a jumping, spinning back kick now. That didn't sound good. Whatever that was, that didn't sound good at all. So, step. Okay. Alright. So, just so that you know, just because you see it being done here, maybe in a movie or two, it is not a safe martial art practice. It is not. And it will get you hurt. Hell, it might get you killed. So I'm going to do a couple of freestyle forms that not really force just some shit in my head. And maybe you'll like them. I won't do too many dangerous things. I'll try to stay in one spot. Just due to the simple fact that shit happens. Always remember, shit happens. This is not safe on any level. Even in training, this can be very bad for you. So do not attempt. Even if you are a skilled martial artist, do not attempt. So we're just going to keep it basic. We're not going to do anything fancy. Alright? So, we go snake. We go into eagle. We go to tiger. Mantis. Crane. Dragon. Who did I leave off? Screw kill. Drunken master. I'd be afraid. Yep. Sorry about about that. Like I said, I stepped off frame, fucked up. I understand that if you have to fight this way in real life, you are going to get hurt. Without question, without remorse. With the wind blowing and the birds chirping, it is going to be very hard for you to hear an individual sneaking up on you. I understand that shit. I hear this tarp blowing. I hear the wind blowing. I hear birds. I can't hear people other than the sound of my own voice. Someone will sneak up on me. I'm facing y'all. They could be there. If they're not in striking distance, I'm a dead man. They're right here. If they're not in striking distance, I'm a dead man. Again, I can't see what they're doing. I throw this sidekick. They sweep under. All of this, done. I understand that having your eyes blindfolded, if you want to just go through the motions this way so you get used to it, muscle memory, I'm going to say that's okay. As far as fighting like this, hell no. Movies have teams, alright? So if I got a guy right here, a guy right here, they are teamed and trained with me on a daily basis so that I, one, look good, and I, two, don't fuck them up and don't get fucked up. The fight scene's really gonna depend on them. It's really gonna depend on them. So if guy one comes in, I will have a cue, I'm sure. Once they say action, you have worked this shit out to the limit. Guy one, right, 4 steps. He takes 3 steps and a half step so that I don't actually connect. Boom, he falls. Guy 2 is supposed to come in with a hand strike. So I block, I break, I knee, I elbow. Or I block, I break, I knee, I elbow. You work that shit out before the word action isn't even spoken. You will have a rehearsal period between the shot or before the shot just to make sure y'all got that shit down pat. There will be an X right there or an X right there, which is perfect setting for striking distance. So if the camera's over my right shoulder, it will look like I struck him with a right front kick. Then we will reshoot the shot, a long shot and a short shot. So a long shot, boom, boom. So that'll be far back. So when it gets put in the editing room, they'll know exactly where to cut it. The short shot, close up, will be over the shoulder, boom, catch him. Now I step over here, guys over here, boom, catch him. Step back. Then we'll do the long shot. Boom. Step back. Boom. You work that shit out. Now in real life, fighting with this on your eyes, may God have mercy on your soul. Because the asshole you're fighting knows you can't see. Well, let's just say it's not going to be a fun ride. And I was completely out of frame, so hopefully you guys got all that. Now let's go have some fun. Always have good equipment. To anybody who's just coming in, sorry, didn't wave, sorry I didn't invite you. Anything you missed will be on my YouTube channel within like an hour or two because I only have like an hour charge on that laptop. So, and I don't have an extension cord. I currently cannot see worth shit. My eyes are trying to adjust. So, just for the record, this is all for fun. I'm not going to tell anybody to do this, but I'm not going to tell you that it can't be done. Under the right tutelage, almost anything is possible. Do not do the blindfold thing. We will do bound fighting at the end. Understand, this is not a bow staff. This is the end of a broom. This is a rake. Both in the right hands are dangerous to the right people. This can simulate the moon spade or the kwando. Understand? Strike, 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 strike. 9 times out of 10, what I just did would have cost me a foot because it's a moon spade or a kwando. If you have to use your body while swinging a kwando or a moon spade, you might be in trouble. You might also unintentionally dislodge part of your body by messing around with the wrong weapon. Understand, these are long-range weapons. A rake is just as deadly as a kwando. The end of a broomstick, or a broomstick itself, is just as deadly as a bow staff. What you just saw me do, this shit, you're only gonna do that in movies. In real life, no one's gonna give you the chance to do that shit. Alright? Now in the Army we did pubes, the Q-tips, but we got the chance to do this shit. But that's just basics, because it teaches you that it's possible, that you will block, and you will block, and you will block, and you will block, which is cool and all, until you meet somebody who doesn't know how to swing one of these damn things, and they just swing for the fences. Which in real life, that happens more often than you think, where somebody just has a stick, and they just go to town. So, for that, your blocks will be this, or this, or this, or this, and there's still going to be a chance that your knuckles are going to get racked. Sure you guys didn't hear that coming, right? So when somebody's swinging like this, and you can't block this way, or this way, or this way, or this way, you need to just not be there. When they swing, you need to be over here. You need to be way out of the range of their weapon. Alright? Now, I bring the bow staff up for a simple reason. I'll pick that back up in a second. See my body. See the distance of my arms. Okay? That is striking distance when you are unarmed. Same with my legs. Striking distance just got great. So if I'm doing this, I will probably not have to do this or this, unless it's more than one person. But like I said, in real fights, people don't swing like this, this, and this. That shit looks good in the movies. And in real life, they swing like this. If you notice carefully, it came across my stomach, and this little tip raked me a little bit. It hurt like shit, because I literally was swinging this bitch fairly hard. And that's what people are going to do. When you watch all these movies, it's choreographed, it's trained, it's so that you know that the actors involved are not going to get hurt. They might get a little bit hurt. They might get a little dinged up. But that comes with the territory of making a martial art film. You have to be ready for that. In movies, they teach you to pick it up like this. I tell you that if your weapon's on the ground and you're not good with your feet, always eyes on enemy if you guys are going to have weapons. Alright? Now remember, this bitch got range. It's got my arm distance time distance. So it gives you a pretty clear picture of what it is. Now, like I said, I'm 5'3.5", so this is roughly 5 feet even. Okay? The rake's even shorter. But you have to understand, with my arm distance, that gives me a little bit more of a fighting chance and hope. So, I got a fighting chance. This has a funny shaped ending on it. Yeah, that wind's pretty strong. So if this was a kwando or a moon spade, all of this would be sharp. If it was a double kwando, there would be one on this end. The reason why I'm pointing that up is because weapons are not a joke. However, if you're better than the person using the weapon, you can take it from them. 1 second. I have to get my big old buddy out. comparison, again, I'm 5'3.5". You want to add that half. God knows the Army didn't add that half. They have me registered legally as 5'3". So, this is your 6-foot plus range. And this is for people who study with the monkey stick. This is not a monkey stick. This is a very well taped piece of bamboo. But the monkey stick, again, you see the range of this bitch. This bitch is kind of heavy. Hopefully I'm still in range. But you see that? If I'm swinging this bitch right here, you're going to need to either be really quick or really short. Because I'm short. And no matter how I swing this bitch, it's going to be heavy on my end. And I got to make sure that you don't know what you're doing. And if you can't take it from me, then I'm good. Now in a fight, I promise you, you will more than likely never have to do what I'm about to attempt to do, which is a perch. So before I do that, if you're old enough to remember WMAC Masters, the best person for the job to teach you about the monkey stick is Yin Yang Man. Go Google him. You will find him and WMAC Masters, and you will learn a lot more from them about this stick than you will ever learn from me. If I can't teach you, I'll point you in the direction of somebody who can. Okay? So with the monkey stick, he does a perch move. So he had slapped it on the ground and everything, and then somehow brought the bitch back up, which is why I can't do it. But the perch is simple. But he can hold it longer than I can. I am a fighter, not a weapons master. My weapons are these things right here. I can use weapons, but I ain't the best at them. You know, it just depends on the weapon and your range and your opponent. There are so many different factors that you need to know about fighting. Weapons are small. Now granted, so you do see me with weapons. You see me work the weapons that I know how to work. You see me simulate toughness because I don't own a pair. But, you know, for the simple fact is, in real life, you need to be on your P's and Q's with your weapons. Because anybody can take that thing from you, and it's a done deal. Alright? So, we're going to go with nunchucks first. Because I'm starting to suck at it. So, double nunchucks, you don't want to cross. Because that can happen and they get tangled up like that. And you kind of want your nunchucks to both be going in the same direction. You don't want one to be going this way and the other one going this way. And then again, if you're one of those people, you knock yourself out. But I'm going to tell you right now, for the double nunchucks, you know, I call it showing off. Here, here, here. That's about the only strike I'm ever going to do with double nunchucks. Alright? If I have two opponents and I have two nunchucks, I'm in good shape. Because I can block and strike, return, block and strike, try to return without knocking myself the fuck out. But the problem with that is, your opponents aren't going to be coming in at you slow, and this is your range. If you hold it up here, you're short range. If you hold it here's mid-range. If you hold it here, you have longer striking range. Now the problem with double nunchucks is that you might get confused and you might hit yourself. Now the other problem with double nunchucks is they really aren't necessary unless you're doing competition. One nunchuck should be more than suitable for you to do anything. We're going with red. And my trademark move's going to be done, as usual. Hopefully I'm far back enough for y'all to see me. That's my trademark. Catch it in the elbow. Now, there are people out here who are aces and way better than me with the nunchuck. But understand one thing. Just because you're better at whirling somebody, whirling with these things, doesn't mean you can beat anybody's ass. Understand that shit. It really doesn't. It just means you're good at whirling these things. Boom, boom. Those are your strikes. You know, Now, if you're good enough that you can block, boom, boom, that's great. But again, you got a few factors you got to worry about with nunchucks. You have to worry about your opponent's speed. You have to worry about their timing. More importantly, you got to worry about their ability to recover from getting hit. Now, these aren't wooden. So I'm hoping that if I hit them hard enough with whatever they're made out of, which is basically line pipe and styrofoam, because they're practice chucks. They're still dangerous in the right hands. But I'm hoping that I hit them hard enough to let them know they've been hit. But if they duck, I need to be able to come back. So I need to be able to do that. And I need to have split-second timing. Alright? Nunchucks are timed weapons. Regardless of what you see, regardless of what you hear, I'm going to tell you the truth. They are timed weapons. You got to make sure that you got the perfect timing in your footwork where if that person's stepping up, boom, you need to be able to get back. So just in case you saw when it went down, I brought it behind me as far as I could so it doesn't hit me. A lot of people don't tell you that when these things hit solid objects, they don't stay there. They come back. See that? It comes back. And if you don't know how to recoil this bitch when it comes back, you're going to get hit. You might knock yourself out. Your opponent may not have to. It's another thing. I'm going to say this before I do another weapon. Anytime you bring a weapon to a fight, you are taking a chance with your life. Most martial artists aren't going to tell you this shit because they want to keep you in thrall. They want to keep you coming. They want to keep you paying their money because you're putting your kids through college. I'm going to tell you the fucking truth. If I never get a school, I'm okay with it. I wanted a school really bad at one time, but there were so many red tapes that I was finding out that thanks to Rob from McDojo Life, I found out all that shit was a lie, so I'm a little bit mad about that shit because I could have been teaching. I could have been on the level I'm supposed to be on right now, but I believed the lie. I need to have a 5th degree black belt to open up my own school. I believed the lie. I had to have a 1st degree black belt to teach in any school. I had to have my hands registered. All this shit kept me from even opening up a school. And then the fact that I thought, okay, well, maybe nobody's going to come to my school. So that was the thing. If you're not well known in the martial arts community, nobody's going to come. But see, the problem with me is I might be a little bit hardcore. I might be a little bit too much of a truth teller. And there's a reason for this shit, man. If you're going to do something and you have to invest money in it, then you should at least be told the truth. Alright? I'm a strong believer in fuck the belt system. I believe that you should be able to fight for your belt. If I have to bring a black belt in from another school just so that you can have a black belt, I'm actually okay with that. But a lot of people aren't. A lot of people, no, you can't fight for your belts. You can't fight for your belts. And I asked them same people, how do you know you good if you can't go one round with a black belt? How do you know you actually deserve that belt if you can't go one round with a black belt from your school or another school? If you can't go one round, and I mean weapons free, not this shit, because you're never going to do that, but these are chokos or short sticks. If you can't go one round hands up, how do you know that black belt is a legit black belt? I've beaten black belts in sparring matches, so like I said, they don't deserve to lose their belt. It's just that I've been doing this a lot longer than most of the black belts and never got a black belt because I didn't learn katas. I learned how to fight. Alright? And katas are just exercise and shadow boxing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Until there is. That's the second you get into a fight and you do this. Hold on. You do this or this instead of this or this. Somebody already just read every move that you could make within 40 some odd seconds. Alright, I'm sorry if I keep looking that way. I'm distracted. There are people that aren't that. And they magically disappear. So, I think they're making a picture. They might be filming something. I don't know. That's why you don't whirl these things, because they'll fly out your hands. And if you're fighting somebody, you're probably going to die. And I know you're thinking, why did you use the foot trick? Okay, these are short. That's why you don't use the foot trick. Just to show you. It can be done. It just takes forever to get it right. See how I keep flying off in a different direction? Oh, use the other flare. Not happening. There, that was to show you that it can be done. Let's try that one more time. See? It can be done. But if it goes off in the wrong direction, now you got more than one opponent because you just pissed off somebody else. But you will never in a fight with chobos do that. You might do it before. You can do it warming up, your training. You know, you have that urge because everybody gets that urge just to see if they can roll the damn sticks. If you get that urge, it's okay. But not when you actually have to compete. Like if you're having a chobo battle or a Kali fight, you know, you're not going to be given the opportunity to do that because that's exactly what the fuck's going to happen. And then that. So why take that chance? When the fight starts, these weapons are never to leave your hand unless somebody disarms your shit by racking your wrists or locking and taking it from you. Other than that, this, that's a big fat no, hell no, okay? So you got your block and your strike, you got your block and your strike, you got your block strike. You know, it just depends on who teaches you what. And that's another thing. Not everything that I teach or taught or was taught is going to register in everybody else's memoirs or school teaching. And everybody is taught differently. And everybody learns differently. Which is another reason why I'm against the black belt system. Because some people learn better physically than they do mentally and on sight. Alright? I'm good at adaptation. I'm real good at adaptation. Except for these damn bugs. I'm real good at adaptation. Now, same thing with the chobos, same thing with kamas. You're not going to do that. You see how close that is? That could kill you because it can hit an artery and blow your wrist. So when you have kamas, they're kamas. They are made to gouge. They are not made for that. You want to fight like this? That's fine. You want to fight like this? That's fine. You want to fight like this, or this, or this? That's fine. What you don't want to do is this, to get into that position, because I just cut my damn arm clean off. You know, whirling weapons is only good in movies. Try to remember that. If you're practicing any martial arts, try to remember that this is only good in movies. Unless it's a prop weapon which is filed so that it doesn't cut you, then knock yourself out on the whirling thing. But understand the concept. This in real life might get your hand taken off. Kamas are not toys, alright? They are very dangerous, they are very sharp, and they will end you if you're not careful. So block, strike, block, strike, block, 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 strike, strike, strike. Now, in all these strikes, if I'm hitting armor, it's probably going to stop after this. Click. Once it hits that armor, it's stuck. I got to kick them off and have pieces of flesh on this thing. However, again, in real life, this, not an option. If you're going to fight like this, you go into battle just like this. Because that way, you block and you strike, versus strike, strike, no block, versus block and strike, now it's stuck. So now, I'm holding his weapon and I'm stuck in this weapon. And guess what? He has another hand. So that weapon over there, while mine is stuck in him, he's going to be sticking something in me. So you have to be on your P's and Q's with your weapons. You have to know how to block. Boom, boom. Now remember, these bitches gouge. That's why they're hooked. So when you cut in, if you're going against regular flesh, you're going to cut in. If you're going against armor, it's going to stick. If it gets stuck in that armor, you're going to have to do something really, really quick. Hopefully it won't be super drastic, but it'll be quick enough for you to retrieve your weapon. These things are badass in the right hands. Not so
Wake
much
up and get Sada, it's 1 o'clock p.m.
Okay, it is 1 o'clock. But we ain't stopping. Okay, because I got 2 more weapons to go through. And then the bound hands thing. Technically 3. So by the magic of my imagination, these are now tonfas. As I told you guys, I don't spend my tonfas in, I spend my tonfas out. So, and can be dangerous because you can break your own rib depending on how strong you are. You can hurt yourself without even trying with any weapon of martial arts. But with Tonfa specifically, because they spin differently than everything else, you know, nunchucks, you spin them, Tonfas, you spin them. But when you spin a Tonfa, this way is bad for me. Might be good for you, but it's bad for me. So I always go boom, outside versus boom, inside. Inside, I gotta work a little harder, but that's me. You will find out what way works for you, and we're gonna do this really, really quickly. Block, strike, block, strike. One more time from the peanut gallery. Block, strike. You see I hit myself. Block, strike. All right? For me, this wrist grip doesn't feel good when it rolls out, and this feels better when it rolls from the outside in. Understand? So if I strike, plus I can hit you, boom, I hit you in the head, and then I can come down. Boom, I hit you in the gut, and then I can come around. Versus, boom, I hit you in the head, and then I gotta come this way. That doesn't feel comfortable for me. It might feel comfortable for you. If that's what you do, then you knock yourself out and don't go with what I said. For me personally, boom and over and boom and out is a hell of a lot better than boom and under or boom and inside. All right? Same thing I tell you about your kicks. You're going to find kicks that work for you better than other kicks. So you want to be able to do that. Okay. So these are not the real rings, but they are good enough for practice. So I bought these at Michael's. They're basically some kind of material that I have no idea. I graciously taped them so that I cannot lose grip on them until I can afford actual rings to train with for Wing Chun. This will do. Now, rings are a little bit more difficult to understand because if you do this and someone catches and then they got your rings. See that? Boom, boom. Now they got your rings. So you need to have a good grip on this shit. And also, understand it. You put this thing over somebody's head, you pull them, you know, you can do a lot of damage. Strike, strike, boom, L. So, guy's over here, and I'm right here, and I hit him in the stomach. He bends over. I lock this around his head. I pull my knee to him, and I pull him to my knee. This is Kung Fu for those who have no idea what the fuck you just saw. So, he's here. I'm in a Wing Chun stance. Boom. I can strike him with the rings all day, you know, because I have them. But I'm an old man, so I'm not going to fuck around with this guy. I hit him in the gut. He's going to bend over unless he has abs of steel. So if he has abs of steel, I'm going to double hit. But one in the ab and one in the testicle. Yes, I know there's no honor in that, but this is a street fight. I don't give a fuck because I'm trying to go home. So, boom. Now I got him because he's bent over. So I put my top ring around his head. I pull him. As you notice, this is still in a guard position. So, boom. Wham! I just put my knee into his face. It's pretty much over. Now, because this is still here. So I put my knee into his face. I can release him and strike him again with the other ring. Now, a lot of people will be sleeping on Kung Fu, and I'm the Kung Fu poster boy, but I'm also going to tell you, learn as many martial arts as you possibly can. Don't just get stuck in one. Boom, that's a block. And then I got this up here for the other block. Now, if he throws a front Kung Fu kick or a side kick, I can block it, or I can be nasty. As I block, I can get his leg caught, and then I can pull him. There's a lot of things you can do. His foot goes to this hole, I can lock it. And after I lock it, I can pull him. Understand? Now, again, in fight scenes in movies, that was like so choreographed. And in real life, I'm only going to tell you, if you strike him and you strike him, do not stop striking him. Boom, 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 wham. Keep going. Because these rings, they're sturdy and strong. Not these ones, but the real ones. They're sturdy and strong, but you don't know how tough your opponent is. So you're not going to stop. If you're double ringing this fucker, boom, boom, boom. You got him in the head, wham, boom, boom, boom. You're still holding him. This is around his neck, like so. So you're still holding him. Boom, boom, boom. He's going to be trying to cover up. He's going to be trying to protect. He may even try to kick you or something. But as long as this thing is around him, boom, boom, boom. As I'm hitting him here, I can ram my shoulder into his face. Understand you are in a fight. And in a real fight, you want to not be playing with your opponent. There's no teasing, there's no Goku and Vegeta shit. There's reality. Boom, I struck him in the stomach, I got it around his head, bam! I got him that way, bam, bam, bam. I still have him. As long as this thing's around his head, I'm in complete control of his body. So unless he breaks this bitch, boom, boom. Now I only have one. Say he broke it, boom, boom, boom. Still got my free hand, bam, boom, bam. I got feet, boom, boom, boom. I have things that I can do to him. Because I know otherwise I'm not going to get the chance to. Once he broke my ring around his neck, I have a problem. I have a pissed off, angry dude here that I need to eliminate. And I need to eliminate him ASAP. Do not play with your enemy. Alright? A lot of people are going to teach you martial arts. They're not going to tell you about competition in real life. Alright? They're going to poke you more towards competition versus real life because you can get paid. You know, you can get paid. I've never been that lucky, but you can get paid. Alright? I wanted to get into acting so I could teach Kung Fu for free. That was my entire dream. I wanted to make movies so I could teach Kung Fu for free. Because honestly, you shouldn't have to pay to be able to protect yourself. Or as I like to say, you shouldn't have to pay to be able to beat everybody's ass who's trying to hurt you. Alright? Now, like I said, when I strike here and I wrap this bitch around, this is classic Kung Fu. Hit, wrap, yoke. It's not that damn difficult. Boom, boom, boom. You can do it from both sides. You know, just depends on the opponent. Now, if you have two opponents, strike, strike, because you're going to need to get the fuck out of Dodge. Now, if you want to do all this Captain America shit, it would look more like this. There's a guy here, there's a guy here. One of them is getting the rings. One of them's getting a foot. Okay? That's it. The guy with the ring's probably going to be in a little bit worse shape because these are supposed to be metal. Not these ones, but if you have the real ones, they're going to be metal. They're going to be thicker than this. This is like paper thin. If you can get a good look. That's really, really thin. Still do damage in the right hands. A training tool, let me rephrase that. I'm not on TikTok, so I can actually use the words I want to use. A training weapon is still a weapon. Don't ever forget that. A lot of people tend to forget that a training weapon is still a weapon. And the reason why I tell you that is because the fact of the matter is, if I'm attacked right now while I'm having these training weapons, I still can beat somebody's ass with a training weapon. When I mentioned the nunchucks were made out of styrofoam and pipeline, it doesn't make it any less dangerous. It just means it's in the hands of someone who knows how to use them. So a training weapon is still a weapon. Remember that shit. Even if it's just for training purposes, it's still a weapon. And you must treat it as so. My practice chain is made out of plastic. It's about 9 to 10 feet long. At full range, you guys can see that. I'm 5'3.5". So that's fully straight. I'm just 1 foot, 2 feet, 3, 4. I have no balance. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 and a quarter. Now, if you want to go by my shoe size, the shoes I'm currently wearing are a 8.5 or a 9. I don't really know, but we can find out for all you mathematicians out there. It is an 8-foot size shoe. My other ones are 9s, and they're both Adidas. Don't ask. My other Adidas, the ones I tie up, they're 8.5 to a 9 also. Knowing the distance of your weapon, knowing how to use your weapon, knowing when to strike, 9 times out of 10 if you're using a chain, a rope dart, meteor hammer, or anything like that, you're not really going to be needing too much footwork other than jumping. And recovering. But it can be done, but you got to understand where that weapon's going. See how I lost control there? That's why I said you have to understand where that weapon is going. If you have no concept of where that weapon is going, you're in deep shit. And finally, the moment y'all been waiting for. Bound fighting. Know the rules. Nothing fancy. Do's and don'ts. Okay, and there's a fuck ton of do's. Kidding. There's a fuck ton of don'ts. Like, there literally is more don'ts than do's in this shit. When I show y'all this, remember I told you I've been training with my hands tied since I was 12 years old. Very few martial arts have training with your hands tied. For all you capoeira experts, let's not forget, capoeira, they had chains. They chained more like this than present day capoeira. You know? And they had thick chains. Alright? We're not going to do capoeira. We are going to do bound fighting though. As I make these videos, I always tell you the do's and don'ts. Shit. And I do my best to show you guys that my hands are bound. So again, let's run over your blocks. Boom, boom. Because you don't have a lot of space. So you're going to need to be able to duck a lot. You're going to be able to move. So let's do your don'ts. If your door is over there, you don't use this kick because you put him in the way. And you don't use this kick because you put him in the way of your escape. You do the opposite. You use this kick, boom, so that you can go him this way and you can go this way. You do this kick, boom, because you're putting him in that direction, so you can go in that direction. Same thing applies for this. What are we not going to do? We are not going to do this. Okay? Y'all probably saw that drool come out. Can't hide anything from the eagle eyes. But you're not going to do that because your balance is off. There's also a very slim chance of you connecting with your opponent. You have to time that shit right. You're probably not going to do this. Okay? Because you have to time that shit right. And granted, they are powerful kicks. However, powerful kicks don't always stop people. Alright? Powerful kicks don't always stop you. And again, also, you don't want your feet leaving the ground that long. You really don't. So if you have to, face is itching. If you have to use any kicks that involve your feet leaving the ground, it should only be a pump kick, like that front jump front kick, or a side step into a kick, you know, boom, boom. That's about the only time your feet should leave the ground. Because your hands are tied. And if you're not a good fighter, you're a dead man or a woman. And this right here, here's what you need to know how to do, just in case. So, let's say the door's behind you. The guy in front of you is holding you at, well, you know, your hands are tied, so there's not a whole lot you can do anyway. They know that, you know that. And he decides he wants to play with his food before he eats it. So, he's going to try and come at you. Now that green car behind me, I know you guys can see it. That's my door. How am I going to get there? I'm going to use a crescent kick outside to inside, and I'm going to make a run for it. Why am I going to make a run for it? Just for the sake of argument. I say I can't fight. It's not that difficult. There's no shame in not being able to fight. There's a shame when you are stupid enough to stay there and take an ass whipping that is not necessary. So he's coming at me, bam! Inside to outside was not available. Outside to inside was best because I can draw the most power that way for me. So now, I'm out. I nailed him. Now, there's one little problem. So shout out to Rob from McDojo Life because he pointed this out and I have never mentioned it and I didn't think of it. So y'all make sure y'all shout out Rob and tell him I said thank you. If the opponent is faster than you, you do have a problem. Because now you pissed them off when you kicked them in the face. Okay? So, that's a big problem. If you can't outrun this person and your hands is tied and you only pissed them off, you are in deep shit. Okay? So let's try it again, but instead of running for the door, I'm going to get my hands out of these fucking ropes, just in case I can't outrun this guy. So the ropes here, they're not really tight. Alright, they're tight so I don't ever have to adjust them. But in your case, you want to make sure that you get out the ropes. So the guy's coming outside the inside crescent kick. Boom! He's stunned. He ain't down, he's stunned. As you run, wiggle, try to get your hands free. Because if that guy gets by, when he gets up and he comes and gets you, you're in deep shit. So thank you, Rob, from McDojo Life, because I never dawned on me that the guy would get up. And so I apologize to all of you for that. It just literally never dawned on me because I'm small. And if I'm going to kick you, I'm going to kick you with bad intentions. Now, I will say I have a contingency plan for that. Instead of doing the crescent kick, front kick to the bladder, or the twig and berries, kick him in the dick. Okay? That's going to keep him down a whole lot longer than kicking him in the face. Now, if he blocks it, you got a problem. Now, notice what I said. If he blocks it, you have a problem. So you're going to have to work that out, because I wouldn't know what really to tell you if he blocks it other than get your hands free and get ready to fight. So you kick him in the dick. Boom! You try to kick his dick clean up into his stomach. This one, that's not going to work. You want to soccer kick the fuck out of his shit. Bow! You want to bring that bitch up with everything you got and pray he doesn't block it. My advice would be to probably try to time your attack with his attack. If he's going to grab you and he's got both hands up, he's not blocking his dick. If he's trying to grab you this way, he's got one hand that can protect his dick. And in that being the case, I would still say kick him in the dick and pray for the best. Alright, so let's do with the last do's and don'ts of having your hand behind your back. If you're flexible enough to block this way, that's great. Most people aren't. And also it's going to be kind of hard to block a powerful hit. So that's a do and a don't. Your best bet is to just try to sidestep everything they throw at you. But most people aren't going to be hitting you anywhere other than in the face, because they're going to be trying to knock you the fuck out, which makes that block a little bit difficult. You know what I'm saying? But if you're flexible enough or have height and you're fighting someone about roughly your height, then you can block this shit with your feet. You know, they're throwing a punch, boom, you can kick the wrist. You know, you want to kick them in the wrist, anywhere in there. There's a super radio nerve there. Learn that in Kempo, but you don't have to follow that advice because most people don't. But anyway, you want to kick them in the wrist because they're throwing a punch, and your foot's going to kick them right there. You know, because your hands are behind your back. So you can do it as I did, a round front or outside to inside crescent kick. Boom. And that gives you enough time to get yourself straight. Or you can do it an inside to outside crescent kick, which is a difficult block to pull off. It can be done. Yeah, like I said, it's got to be difficult. But if he's throwing a right hook and you, boom, you block it with your foot, you know, you're good. You know, I'm gonna just say it, you're good. Do I recommend it? It's a do-don't. It's a situational problem. Your hands are tied behind your back. If you have the expert timing and wherewithal that you can use this outside leg to block his outside punch, then you're good. The only downside is that he still has a hand over here. Understand how that works? When you are fighting someone, you need to understand two things. This is a guard. When you're blocking, they still have another hand. Now, it's the same thing when I tell people when you watch these disarms, or these weapons disarm, you don't ever want to be in their central line. When you take their weapon from them, you want to be over here. A lot of people are going to be against that, but those people don't know Kung Fu. For Kung Fu purposes, you always get to the outside. And for the Kempo that I learned, you get to the outside. It's easier to break it from the outside than the inside. But sometimes inside breaks are a little bit more tricky to pull off. But an outside break, that some bitch got to work to get to you. Alright, this guy's getting funky and I'm almost running out of time. So, we're going to try to make this quick. Again, if you've watched enough of these videos, you know that this is a lot easier than this. Because this is your limitation of blocks. And now your limitations have been less against you and more for you. You know, your high right, medium with knee, low right. High left, medium with knee, low knee. All right? So you have all that. Then you still aren't going to do this. Your balance isn't as bad as it was, but you do not want your feet leaving the ground for a long amount of time when your hands are bound. You just don't. But you also want to keep that shit basic, because if you start doing what I just done, you're forfeiting your life. Straight up. You're forfeiting your life. Why do that? You can block and strike. Block, strike. Block, strike. You know, that's a hell of a lot better chances of you surviving that fight than you doing this. Boom, strike, boom. Now those first two, they're going to put the guy in position for that. But if he ducks that last kick, because he's been hit twice, he's not trying to get hit a third time. So he's like, blocked, strike, there goes my phone. Yeah. Strong win, y'all. Sorry about that, Instagram. I normally have these things in the chair to keep it from falling. I think that's my sign from the heavens that I need to hurry up and end this. So we're going to do that. Like I said, if you struck him, boom, boom, and then you decide, if he ducks that shit, fights his now. Because he ducked it. Bow. He just hit you in your testicles. If you're a man, you're done. Now he's over top of you. He's stomping a mud hole in your ass, a well-deserved mud hole that he earned to give you when he got hit, and he saw his opportunity and he took it. Now, your basic setup, he throws a punch, block, strike, strike, strike. You want to keep that shit simple. Because all the other fancy shit does is open up an opportunity for you to get your ass kicked. We don't want that. We want you to make it out of here alive and well. So you want to keep that shit as simple as possible. You know, he throws a punch, block, strike, unless he's throwing a left to your right, where you can block, break, pull, and strike. For those who do Kung Fu, you want to switch to karate, block, break, still doing Kung Fu, pull, and now you strike. Alright? The simplest thing of that changed it was I used a different arm. I use the arm furthest away from my opponent because it adds power to it. Alright? A lot of people that teach you martial arts will not break down the simple ramifications of the differences between certain martial arts and what's not. Kung Fu is really simple. It's really simple. Where karate is about power, Kung Fu is about directness. They all have the same base moves. A front kick for karate is the same front kick for Kung Fu. A front kick for Taekwondo, it's the same goddamn kick. Now, if you do a round kick for Taekwondo, that's when they start adding finesse, because your round kicks can go single or double. For most Taekwondo, a lot of people go down then up. So they're like, boom, boom, and they roll it. And some people go up and then down. Boom, boom. 9 times out of 10, up and down doesn't really make fucking sense. It might just be me, but I'm pretty sure that if I'm going to kick you, and here goes the phone. Okay, we're just gonna set you right here for the last few minutes of this, because clearly I have been told by the heavens that it's time to lock up the shop. So we're gonna make this quick. I think my laptop's still going. I'm not gonna swear to it. And now the internet has done something funky. No, we do not want to end that. Sorry. Okay, so where I was if you want to make it complex, it will get complex, but it's really not. It's a real small difference. Most people throw a left first, so they're throwing an extra right. And if you're doing Wing Chun, you're gonna block, you're gonna break at the elbow, and then you're going to pull them. Usually it's to the closest knee, which is here, and then the elbow. But you want to do it from karate standpoint. First you start with the Kung Fu. You block, you break, and you pull. Now it's karate because I'm using the farthest knee. Not the closest knee, but the farthest knee. Boom! So now I just added the power. I just need the shit out of him in the stomach. And he's bent over. So I've broken his elbow, kung fu style. I've kneed him in the stomach, karate style. I'm going to finish him off with karate by using the opposite elbow versus the one that's closest to my opponent. So boom! Now I've just double whammied the shit out of him. And that's pretty much decent in the distance between of kung fu and karate. You know, it's a really small, minute difference. And a lot of people don't know it. But like I said, all martial arts have relatable moves. Though, anything that you can learn in karate, you pretty much can learn in kung fu. And since kung fu was first, it is the grandfather of martial arts, you have to understand how that shit works. I'm going to give you one last example and I'm going to end this shit. We're going to do karate first, and then we're going to do kung fu. So in karate, you are taught, here, block, counter. In kung fu, you are taught, block, break, counter. Understand? So again, karate, I've blocked it to the outside, and I'm going in to counter with my right hand versus my left hand blocking his right hand. However, he has a left hand, so he's going to counter my strike with either a low block or a high block, and he's going to block that shit away. Which, while doing so, he's going to step back, so you know, back, while I'm thrusting forward, which is going to open me up for a strike. If he steps back and I'm still coming forward, he blocks me and I don't have a move at the ready, he's going to put my ass unconsciously. Yeah, he's just going to knock me the fuck out. Now, the thing about Kung Fu, I get to the outside because it's safer for me. So, if he throws a right jab to my left side of my face and I'm in this stance, I have to adjust. But there won't be a time for that in a real fight. So I can block this way and push it down, and then I can strike. But I'm still subject to his left hand. Where if he's throwing a left hand to the right side of my face, which is how I set him up in the first place to do that. So he's throwing a left hand to the right side of my face. Now I can block, break, strike, I can pull and go down, or I can pull and go down. Both of those were Kung Fu. The subtle difference, if it would have been karate, is, alright, so I block and I break. This is the power leg, this is for karate. It's the furthest away from my opponent, who would be right here. I've broken his arm and I'm pulling him. Now I threw my karate knee into his solar plexus or his stomach, and then I did a karate elbow, which I brought back with all the torque. Now the reason why Kung Fu is more direct versus power is because Kung Fu gives you the exact points to hit. Alright? So if I break his elbow, because he threw a left jab to the right side of my face, I'm already on the outside of his body, I've broken the elbow, I slid down the arm and I stole him in the throat, or I slid under the arm and I stole him in the ribs. Because I'm on his left, I'm not hitting any livers and stuff like that. I'm only hitting ribs or kidney. Now, if he would have been on this side and he threw it right, I'd break the elbow, throat, or under to the liver or to the kidneys, because I want to do enough damage to keep this guy the fuck off me. Now, remember, Kung Fu is about directness more than it is about power. Where karate is more about power versus directness, because a powerful hit is just as good as a direct hit. But a powerful direct hit, when you can combine them both, then you know you've done something. That being said, I am Echo Fan Grey Wolf. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2, and this is also my Instagram. And I'm going to bail, and thank you to the one person who actually stayed long enough to learn something. Be seeing ya. Okay, Instagram, YouTube. God damn. This isn't my day. Cancel that. And stop